huge card on slate today.
15-game card. It's us versus the bookies. Bases loaded, high noon. It's going to be a showdown.
On a suddenly not so casual Friday, the buy hat is engaged. Will the Mets get swept this afternoon in Cincinnati? Will the Yankees bludgeon the White Sox again tonight in the Bronx? Find out now on MLB Bases Loaded. It is Wednesday getaway day, June the 17th, 2026. I'm the Shark. He is Mikey. Mike, what's going on this morning, brother?
Brother, I was just saying backstage, we are up. We are not just up in life. We are not just up in spirit, but after another great day, we are up on the books here. We have moved it to over 4 net units collectively between the sides, totals, props, parlays, the whole smash. We turned that quarter marker of the season, and we ain't looking back, man. It's been fun. Great day yesterday. Some good head-to-head spots, some good straight-up best bet spots out there, and I don't expect it to change anytime soon. The Pirates, however, did take one of the 4 runs I'm giving them over their next 24 games yesterday, so we'll talk about that too, I'm sure, as the show progresses, Shark, but TGIW, man, it's hump day. Let's get after it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys are in the chat, get ready to fire. We got 7 afternoon games here. It is getaway day for some of these teams. Midweek, if you guys are at work on the East Coast, come hang out with us in the chat. If you're on the West Coast, get your coffee, and let's get ready to dominate on a suddenly not so casual Wednesday, June the 17th, 2026. First game on the card, not waiting around at all. First pitch in roughly 1/2 an hour, 12:40 in Cincinnati. Mets-Reds closing up a series midweek here in Cincinnati. Nolan McLean on the bump at Nick Lodolo. These pitchers actually faced off in Queens earlier this year. Lodolo did catch a win on the road. Interesting dynamic here, Mike. I'm pretty fired up for this one. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good matchup. Pitching-wise, certainly it's the guys you want to see on the bump. I'm a little apprehensive to take a side in this one, though, because at the end of the day, I've just been I don't know what the right term is here. Trying to figure the rights. I've been starting the struggle bus with this series here. You know, I suspect the Mets will come back and fire. I suspected at some point the, flip side of things here shows elements of regression, but we're just not seeing it. And that's the New York Mets in a nutshell. So, look, I hate to start off the card without anything that I really like, but I'm not just going to throw any garbage against the wall and hope it sticks. If I had to take a side with the free bet, I'd have to take the Mets, but I don't even like saying that out loud.
I do. I'm taking the Mets. Proud of it. Mets, what's going on in Cincinnati this afternoon? Taking the Mets on the money line to avoid the sweep, and I just dropped it as well. We're taking the run line. I think margin could develop in this game. You get the money line at 127, get the run line around plus 133. Look at that split. It's only about 50 points separate. That tells you margin is expected in this game. It's a probability. It's strong. As I mentioned, the road pitcher did win in Queens. Lodolo 7-2. McLean got absolutely lit up in that game. Worst start of the year, 7 earned runs, 2 home runs against. It was a Monday in May. Here's the point on the line. The Mets were actually favored in that game, minus 135. That's a home game. Look at the line on the screen here, guys. What's the road line? Minus 136. It's higher on the road. Why? The Mets are not going to get swept here. That previous series had the same exact dynamic. Cincinnati won the first 2 games by margin. Mets did get the Reds in the final game of that series 4-2. And McLean is actually a better road pitcher this year outside of the division. Home starts in this window, 18 earned runs in 33 1/3 innings pitched. Go on the road. Pretty nice sample, 28 1/3 innings pitched, road outside of the division, only 7 earned runs. And, Mike, I was looking at this before because I was curious. How does McLean perform in matinees, this being a very early time? In his career, of course, which did begin last year, 7 matinee starts. So very nice sample. Only 9 earned runs. This guy's a professional. He's a young professional. He will be locked in. And Lodolo has actually been absolutely terrible in matinees throughout his entire career. Only won this year at home on a Wednesday. Did take a loss within this divisional, this out-of-division matchup to the Nats, 8-7. Absolutely final point on this. I've talked about this every time in this matchup. The run differential leans heavily towards the Mets here. The Mets are 9 games under 500, but they are 19 runs better than the Reds, who are hovering right around 500. You want to take the Mets this afternoon to avoid the sweep. McLean performs great on the road, particularly outside of the division. He will get run support here. The team will light up Lodolo. I see an over in this game too, as well, Mike. Any thoughts on the over or keeping it moving?
No, we keep it moving. Like I said, I'm just not, I don't want to expect you, both these teams are at that point. Sometimes you look at your spreadsheets and your database and your trends, and you just have to kind of hit the reset button, and it's okay to take a series off where they recalibrate. I expect both these teams to recalibrate, and I don't mind that over, but do you want to count on the Mets to do anything is the question. And so at the end of the day, I'd say free play. Yeah. Give me the New York Mets.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Obviously, these teams have both been incredibly unpredictable. We saw the Mets lose 14 straight at one point. We've been harping on the fact that the Reds are a sell team now for weeks. It theoretically does have a lot of abstract parts, but this really is where McLean performs. And just finalizing, we'll move it forward. Only 2 starts from McLean this in his career at Central Time. Both were margin wins and overs, 12-5 as a small favorite at Detroit last year, and 8-5 at the Cubs. Elite level spot for me. Mets, run line, and over. Take all 3. Let's cash it. Let's start it up right. First pitch in about a half an hour, and let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, more afternoon baseball. Going back to Washington, D.C., Nats Royals. Zach Littell against Luinder Avila. The Nats kind of laying the hammer down on the Royals here midweek, Mike. Does it continue this afternoon?
This is one of those challenging spots where you look at it and say, Littell, what do you know about this guy? I've been talking about it time and again this season. He's a fade. And the Washington Nationals have been cooking. They've been putting runs on the board. They're one of the most offensively successful teams, especially at home, but I'm not going to see it today here. Money coming in for sure, but a smidge of sharper betting coming in on this Kansas City Royals team. And I'm going to get down with them today. I don't have a lot other than to say I don't think that they go out there and post up the donut. I think Avila, struggling for sure, but it's an afternoon spot. It's one of those little quandaries where I suspect we see runs and can at this point, this Kansas City team fire. You got some guys like Caglianone. Some of these guys are just kind of hanging out there. They at some point the plastic should come off the bats and they should start to smack them like they own them, but we haven't seen it yet, and so this one's just a little sneaky. Give me a plus money play and see if I can't find a way to pay dirt.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I think the Nats might struggle to sweep this series. Of course, this is actually the final game of the season between these teams. Very much anecdotal, to use a nice dictionary word. There's not really a rivalry here. They rarely ever play each other. They won't play for another year. They'll play next year in Kansas City. I think the Nats are going to struggle here this afternoon. But I think more precisely, this pitcher, Luinder Avila, this is his first campaign starting any games for the Royals. Came up last year. He's actually very young, a 24-year-old right-hander from Venezuela. He's actually looked very good on the road and terrible at home. Incredible splits here. In his last 3 2/3 innings pitched at home, 11 earned runs. Just got absolutely rocked. Didn't make it out of the first inning last Friday against the Astros. 8 earned runs before getting pulled in the first inning. But in that same window, 2 road starts, 2 road wins, both almost an identical score sheet. Both starts, 5 innings pitched, precisely 2 hits, 1 earned run. The guy's a robot. I mean, I swear, these guys, this is incredible stuff. He can't pitch at home. He's an ace on the road, and both outright wins. Win at Cincinnati, interleague play 9-2, win in the division on a Saturday at Minnesota. And that game at Cincinnati was actually in a very similar line range. Cincinnati was laying -131 with a bullpen game. And the Royals just absolutely hammered down 9-2. Mike, I'm looking at it here. I mean, I didn't post it, but I totally agree. Can we make that a collab? I think this is Luinder on the road, bounce back. I think the Royals win the game. So let's put that down and let's keep it moving. Sharp
I'll
stuff
put it down, but the problem is it's going to start before we get rolling. So we want to certainly give you guys, if you're watching us on the replay, we want to give you a reason to watch it. So if you're catching us early, you caught this spot for us here to say Kansas City rolls.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's why you watch Bases Loaded. We find the patterns that other people certainly do not. Avila likes pitching on the road. What's going on, Avila? You like Venezuela? You don't like Kansas City, my guy? Let's get out on the road and dominate, and let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, 1:05 in Philly, Citizens Bank Park. Marlins at Phillies, Alcantara at Painter. Interesting dynamic here. Marlins getting cleaned up by the Phillies so far this year. Alcantara has something to say, perhaps. Mike, what are your thoughts on this game?
Man, could I have been any more wrong those first two games? Here's the problem, you guys. When you start looking at metrics, dynamics in the database, yeah, I talk about resets and recalibrations, but there's going to be some spots, and there's some on the card today. I'll make sure to point them out to you guys where you got to just plug your nose and take it. And unfortunately for me, that means this is a Philly spot. You know, Painter, I don't want to be a guy that backs Painter, but there's a couple things you need to know about this guy. One, last year at the trade deadline, when they were trying to acquire some key pieces to go make their playoff push, this is one of the guys that the Twins specifically wanted, and they said, no, we're keeping this guy in our stable of hoes because we think he's going to go out there and fire. Two, Sandy Alcantara in recent performance, yeah, he just went 8 innings. I'll give that to him, but you got to look at his earned runs now. So the Sandy that you think you know isn't the Sandy that you're seeing right now. This is going to be, I think, the theme of today's card. What you saw isn't necessarily what you saw, if that makes sense. And so we've got this guy that's given up 21 runs and 5 starts on top of it. You know, we talked about yesterday's Yankee spot and the price tag. This is a Philly spot, price tag. And I can give you some trends behind it too. I mean, yeah, you know, there's a lot of numbers that show the Marlins don't lose in the game 3 of a series and trying to get swept out there, divisional clashes and the rest. But, you know, for me, it just comes down to 2 things. One, if I can get one of the best teams, one of the best bullpens in baseball, that negates how far Painter goes anyways. The Phillies as home favorites against righties have won 6 in a row, and that's a key piece out there. We talked about fading the White Sox yesterday because of their lack of success against right-handers. We want to buy in on teams that have a ton of success against right-handers. Divisional favorites on Wednesday season finales are 15-2 in this spot today as well. This is a get the nails out and pound away on the Philadelphia Phillies, you guys. Thank me tomorrow. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Thank me in the comments after the show today that you cashed and crashed and crushed and smashed and all the rest with this Philadelphia Phillies team. I'm so excited I can't even talk, Shark.
I'm excited for the conversation, but I'm not excited for the take. The buy hat is engaged, taking the Marlins on the plus. And, you know, Mike, I'm looking at the dynamics. Oftentimes when we disagree, you kind of lay me up with it, and then I go the other direction. But you're looking at a dynamic here to sell this guy, Painter. We've been talking about this for a few weeks. I think he's a little market capped here. He is young. He's 23. That's, for me, a bit of fatigue here. You know, first campaign as a major league starter. We're approaching the All-Star break. Teams have film on this guy. 3 consecutive awful starts. Got hammered at the Dodgers. Fine, I get it. It's the Dodgers. Came home, last home start. Absolutely terrible. 6 earned runs against the White Sox in a loss, and then just got shelled on the road at Milwaukee. I think it's fatigue and it's tape, and it's also matinees. Painter is 0-3 in home matinees. And you look at the other side of this, Alcantara is actually 4-0 at the National League. His only bad starts this year have come in interleague play, getting absolutely rocked at Detroit, 7 earned runs, and Toronto, 8 earned runs. So great patterns, very specific stuff. I also think when you look at this matchup, Mike, you said the Phillies have been dominated. They have. They're 5-1 versus the Marlins this year. That only loss was an Andrew Painter start. He did lose 4-0 to the Marlins on the road and Max Meyer. And final point on this, the last time Alcantara faced the Phillies last year at home, Jesus Luzardo laid a 160 figure to the guy on the road. This is 35 points shorter at home for a pitcher. That's a 90-point move, which for me is the integration of all the conversation into the line. Books actually think that Painter is 2 to 2.5 runs worse at home than Luzardo was on the road. And Luzardo did actually win that game accordingly on the road by 2 runs. I see the Marlins by 2 runs in this game. Disagreement here. Mike.
Luzardo and Painter are not of the same elk. Stop.
That's what I just said. I said it's integrated into the line. I said the conversation is integrated.
But if they're making him a weaker pitcher in terms of the overall numbers, it's because they're not one and the same. So there's no corollary or parallel between what happened then with Luzardo and what's going to happen now with Painter. Painter's not the same guy. He's in this, like you said, he's young. I would say to that point, think about your recoil rate as a 23-year-old. You come home from the bar, got a sexy little number on the side. You're looking to smash and cash. You're just going once and you're done. You're going all night until the sun comes up. This guy's got a 23-year-old recoil rate. I think he goes out there and fires.
No, I wouldn't disagree. I would say this, and we'll keep it moving. Over the course of the last decade, I've really realized that the books know everything and we know nothing. So when we look at the books know every conversational angle we put on record. So the books have this matchup downgraded in terms of Alcantara being the center point. The Alcantara strength is upticking here for me. But outside of that, it's Philly. It's going to be actually, it's the last Wednesday of the spring. Guys, get out of your houses. Go down there. Put the phone down, too. Stop filming the damn game. Go get a beer. Watch the game. Enjoy it. If Mike wins, I'll be happy for him. If I win, I'm sure he'll be happy for me as well. If you guys are in the chat, type Marlins if you're tailing the buy hat. Type Phillies if you are tailing Mike, and we will see what happens. That game goes off in 45 minutes. Big dog stuff on a Wednesday afternoon, and let's keep it moving. Next game on the card, 2:10 in Houston. Tigers-Astros. Another one between these two teams. Pretty crazy one last night. I thought Framber Valdez was going to get the dub. I said he was going to shove. He was totally locked in. And then all of a sudden, the bottom of the eighth inning, no, sir. 4-2 Astros. Now we get an afternoon game. Mike, what's going on here?
Man, I'll tell you, I struggle with this one. Here's why. I like Lambert. I've said it a couple of times now. I'm on the Lambert team here. The thing about Detroit is they've been so bad for so long that they're in a position where they do have to kind of kick back into gear here. And now on top of that, you got Scubo back. Like the pieces are starting to slowly come back together for this Tigers team here. And you bring in Casey Mize. You got Detroit as a minus 110. Okay, I guess it's kind of technically a pick 'em here, but it's a bounce back spot for Mize as well. What's weird is I don't know if he got a little banged up in his last start there, and now he's coming back. So it's been 3 weeks extended absence, first pitch back. That for me becomes problematic. I can't get behind the Tigers team because I just don't know what we're going to see. Are they watching the pitch count? Is he fully healthy? That gap in between last start and current is what concerns me. The problem I have with the Tigers in this spot, two things. One, Casey Mize starts are unders. He's gone 7 straight unders and 7 straight starts out there, and he's going under by 3.5 runs a game. So this becomes that, if you want to call it the coin flip, like 3-2, 2-1. Will any one team to get on top of it? And the Astros have shown sustainability to producing runs, 14 straight overs when they're between the 125s of a pick'em. That's one of my favorite spots because you just don't know. The books are like, should they be a dog? Should they be a favorite? They think anything can happen. And the reality is they're producing results. So runs production against a team that's not expecting them. I'd have to go Lambert or nothing in this spot. And I guess I'll lean to Houston.
I'm not leaning Houston. I am buying Detroit. And, Mike, you say kind of coin flip here, but I look at the line here. I think it's interesting stuff. Game 3 of the series. First game, Houston was favored minus 125. Yesterday, they were favored minus 175, and they won by margin. So you talk about line continuum. Books actually got that right. Off a loss, moved up 50 points would indicate margin, and it was margin. And now it moves down all the way over to Detroit, favored for the first time in this series, minus 115. So for me, this is a really strong line. And what I'm looking at here is Casey Mize. We saw this yesterday. We thought Hunter Brown might struggle off an injury. He did not. And when you get these real top-graded pitchers, they just don't struggle. This is not Kodai Senga on the road yesterday, 3 runs in before he records an out coming off the injury list. Not only that, you look at Mize here. I think he's finding who he is. Number 1 overall pick a while back. That stands for something. These guys don't get drafted number 1 overall unless they're absolute blue chips. He's had a couple injuries this year. This is his second IL stint, but he was pushed back due to a rainout over the weekend. He's been off for about 2 weeks. His numbers this year are absolutely elite. Approaching 50 innings pitched, only 12 earned runs, and a whip hovering less than 1. It's a lot of innings. It's very efficient. And go back to last night. One of my strongest points in this handicap is actually the box score last night. If you look at what happened in the 8th inning, Detroit had a 2-1 lead in the top of the inning. And then here comes Keider Montero on the bottom of the 8th. What's the problem there? Keider Montero is a starting pitcher. Hello, management. You don't put a starter in out of nowhere in the 8th inning in a high leverage spot. Absolutely terrible management of a team. So he comes in, ends up giving up 3 earned runs, however, facilitated by Kevin McGonigal booting a double play ball to keep the inning going, which led to 3 runs. I got more problems with that. Kevin McGonigal was playing third base. He's listed as a shortstop. Tigers management, are you guys drunk? This is ridiculous. Get it together. That all being said, if he didn't boot the double play ball, they win the game. They would be going for a sweep here. And that brings me to the final point. The last time the Tigers played a big out-of-division series within the American League, they did sweep the Rays. They're 5-1 last 6, road outside of the division against American League teams. And the run differential gap in this matchup is absolutely gigantic. The Tigers are 35 runs better than the Astros. The Astros are one of the best sell teams in the sport. I think might as well shove. Buy hat is engaged. Take the Tigers and let's cash. Keeping it moving down the line here. More afternoon baseball. Padres at Cardinals closing up a series. I believe this is a getaway game. They might be playing tomorrow. I'm not sure. This afternoon. We got, looks like a bullpen game for the Padres. Bradley Rodriguez. What a name. Kyle Leahy. Mike, for me, the best thing would be that Bradley Rodriguez sounds like a Spanish guy on the show Bridgerton. If you guys watch HBO, it's like an old English Bradley Rodriguez. He's serving up a nice cup of tea. What's he doing this afternoon in St. Louis, Mike?
Yeah, I saw that name and I was like, oh, Shark's going to love this guy. I can't get there with any of these teams either. I hate to say that again. It's like, sometimes I fire with, a ton of action. And then there's other times where the numbers really don't show me too much. And I can't really get much a bead one way or the other here. Cardinals should be, this is one of those teams again, where I've got to hit the reset on my numbers. I've got to let a little time go through here before I can try to formulate what's really happening, because we do have, on top of everything else, you want to talk about the trickery that goes into it. You have oscillating line movement here. You've got the Cardinals move from -125 to -122. You have 73% of the bets, 55% of the cash on them. Why are they making it more attractive to bet them? But at the same time, they're making it more attractive to bet the Padres. So the books aren't entirely sure what's going to happen in this game. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen in this game. And for that reason, it's very hard for me to want to get behind really anything in this game, Shark. So I will defer to you, my friend. No head-to-heads in this one. No correlations, no collabs. All you, my friend. How are we getting paid?
I'll defer to the chat if anybody has anything on this one. I hate this game. This is like just an absolute toss-up, as you said. You get basically a pick-em line. The home team is laying like 130, which is like off of a +100 neutral. You're getting like 330 just very, very stock points at home for home field advantage. Leahy's inconsistent. You're getting a bullpen game here. If you guys have anything in the chat, our guy says nothing in this one for me. Anybody else in the chat, if you guys are around, drop your comments, and we'll try to ramp this conversation up. But it's a terrible game. Guys, flip a coin if you want to bet this, and we'll keep it moving. Next game on the card, we're going to Los Angeles, 3:10 Eastern. That is a very early start out west, 12:10. Dodgers closing up against the Rays here. Shohei Ohtani on the bump against Shane McClanahan. This is going to be really an elite level matchup. You saw 2 straight games here between these teams. Really feel like playoff games. 1-0 last night, actually. The fastest game for the Dodgers, I believe, in over a decade, under 2 hours. Mike, we're looking at another pitcher's duel, perhaps. What's going on here?
Yeah, I think that's exactly the way to describe this. This is that pitcher's duel. I faded Ohtani the other day. Got some luck with that thing. Got some success. Got the pay dirt out there. I think both these pitchers can shove. And for that reason, I want to get involved in the first 5 under and full game under business here. But I think officially I'll go with the full game under 7.5. Couple things, it's hard to get runs off of Ohtani in the first place. We know that. He's 11-0 to the under in the home favorite role. If he gave up a home run, but less than 5 total runs. In other words, he's pissed. When Ohtani's pissed, the game goes under. The Rays are 10-0 to the under when you give them a total between 7 and 9. If they got more than 8 pitching strikeouts and they weren't able to get on top of the board, in other words, they're pissed. Their pitcher came out there and locked them down and they couldn't catch the win. And the Dodgers series closing home games, they're an under at 7-0 as well. So got a lot to look at here from an under perspective. 7.5 looks like a great number. First 5, 3.5 looks like a great number as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough game for me, honestly. I want to buy the Rays. I look at the dispersion. I look at 2, consecutive games, as we said, both 1-run games. Could have really gone either way in theory. You would think that the Rays could compete here with McClanahan on the bump. However, he hasn't really looked very good on the road in recent history. 3rd straight road start. Both of the previous starts didn't make it deep in the game and actually gave up 4 earned runs. And I'm wondering, when I was handicapping this before, is McClanahan hitting a little fatigue here? I mean, this guy's a top-end rotation guy, but he was hurt for about 16 to 18 months. So we're definitely hitting that flux point in the season for a bunch of guys as we lead into the All-Star break about a month from now, where fatigue is a real thing. And you see pitchers flip from great to bad and bad to great. So I'm not entirely sure, but the line certainly does suggest an under in this game. I'll defer to you, Mike. I don't have anything officially, but just a comment on that. We'll be watching McClanahan as we go forward, as he is potentially fatiguing maybe a little bit. Take the under, and let's cash. Final game on the afternoon card this afternoon, 3:40. That is 12:40 out in Phoenix. Angels Diamondbacks. Sam Aldeguerri at Eddie Rodriguez. We saw a couple unders in this game, in this series the last two nights. Now the line is pretty high. Mike, this could be a big-time cluster of runs this afternoon. What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that look. Listen, full disclosure, I got cooked on this one yesterday. I was all about Arizona. I was in first. We had such a terrific morning or afternoon or early, whatever you want to call it. The first half of the card was so fantastic. Some great money line calls across the board. Couldn't miss. And then the evening card rolls around, and this game just got me in the short hairs here. So a little disappointed when it came down to it. I'd like Arizona, but I don't like them at this price. So I'd have to go Angels or nothing. But I think you're right. I think the better way to get after this game is to look at this game, expect to see some run production. Both offenses, Arizona Heat. Why not see this thing, crank over the number? Again, it's one of those spots where I don't have anything that jumps off the page at me other than, the Angels, they do like to go overs. 9-0 against lefties. That's kind of the anomaly out there where you would think, well, left-handed pitching, I talk about the spin rate comes in differently, and that's not the case here. This is one of those spots where you see, in fact, this team does take the advantage behind it. So I'd like that. I'd have to lean that direction or nothing here, but I'm going to go with nothing.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys the over. I'm looking at it now. What's our line? Our line is 9. Yeah, 9. Over 9. And I just think you're going to see situationally just a buy low in the market. I mean, we're coming off of 2 unders. I gave you guys the under yesterday, 7-0. I thought Merrill Kelly would pitch well. He did not, but Reed Detmers really is elevating his quality to ace status. I mean, the guy is just an absolute genius right now. Just a shutout. And the line yesterday was lower. So I'm looking at the lines in this series. We had a game 1 under at 9, 4-3. They actually moved it down yesterday, 8.5, which is where I got my under. So now you go under, line lower, and it bumps up a full run. This opened at 9.5 in the market at plus 100. So I actually have a projection here for double-digit runs. I think we see 11 runs in this game, and it really is a pitcher flip. Game 1, we got Walbert Urania. I'm talking about Detmers skyrocketing. This kid, Walbert Urania, is also skyrocketing in his efficiency. Angels fans, you guys got some young arms in that rotation. Look forward to future years to come. This is not the same situation. This guy, Sam Aldeguerri, we said it last time. He's from Italy. He's actually from Italy. He's from Verona. He's not going to pitch that great. He hasn't had a road start all year. It's a funky spot. It's interleague. It's in the desert. It's hot. And Eddie Rodriguez is just not in good form right now. Mike, we were talking about this about a month ago, and we said real throwback campaign for Rodriguez here in his early 30s. He looked great. I think he's also capping out, which aligns with this conversation of these pitchers fatiguing midseason. Last 2 starts, 9 innings pitched, 8 hits, 6 walks, 5 earned runs, 3 home runs against. And this is your classic afternoon game, getaway game. Bats awaken, different pitching situation, and the line does hit that at the over point. That's it for that. Take the over, and let's cash. And Mike, we got a video.
Appreciate everybody taking the time to watch this thing, whether you're live or you're catching us on the replay. We appreciate your contributions here. And if you enjoy the show, you're making some cash with us, you want to see us keep doing more of these quick hitters, all we ask you to do is show a little support. Hit the thumbs up button.
Appreciation is appreciated. If you guys haven't clicked the like button, do it right now. It takes a half second, and it really is a high point for us to grow the show together. And just one final point. Kelly says, Rodriguez under's been cashing. Kelly, we are handicapping the future, not reporting the past. It is moving the other direction, and we are keeping it moving ourselves. Night card tonight, bunch of stuff going on. 6:45, divisional baseball in Boston. Toronto at the Red Sox. Game 2 of this series, Scherzer at Bennett. Interesting conversation here. Scherzer looking very sketchy to say the least. ERA over 10. Bennett here not looking great either. Mike, high line 9.5. Tough game for me. What do you have in this one?
Red Sox, simple. Scherzer stunk it up the other day. Scherzer's washed. Another one of those spots. I told you guys there's a couple on the card where it's like just, you want to get involved in it. Listen to what I'm saying here. Scherzer did not have the goods. I thought he might. I took a shot with him, and it was a big battle. He should have come ready to roll. I'm sure he gave it all he had, and all he had was not good enough here. So yesterday I gave you guys, a pretty simple spot out there. I told you this is a great Toronto Blue Jays situation. Their strikeout percentages are low, and you got a guy in Tolley that's a big strikeout guy, and he was dependent on that. You saw that it didn't get there, but today I can't go in that direction. Today I got to fade Scherzer. I don't care who Bennett is. I'm sure he's just going to be the opener in this case. And either way, home team minus 122. There's minus 126 out there for Boston. I think that's a great spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. Actually, he's going to go about 5 innings. This is his fifth appearance, or excuse me, fourth. He has gone 5 innings in every start so far. We talked about him actually a week or two ago, and I said he's kind of the other side of the Peyton Toll conversation. Very similar prototype. He's 6'6". He's a big dog. He's 235, and he's from Oklahoma. So the Red Sox are really stocked on these arms. I was just talking about it with the future of the Angels rotation looking great. I mean, I was actually considering this before when I was handicapping it. I was thinking Red Sox Nation is so down on their team. You have this kid Bennett looking pretty damn good. You have Toll, you have Conley early, and you have Garrett Crochet currently injured, and Bayo's in the minors. Guys, take a breath in Boston. You got a nice future ahead of you, and I think it probably does come tonight. Mike, I would agree. I think this is a Red Sox line. Not going to go into much detail. I would agree, and we'll keep it moving. Next game on the card, going back to New York tonight. Big dog stuff here. 7:05 White Sox Yankees game 2. Anthony K at Carlos Rodon. Mike got it last night. You're going to see that something happen tonight in New York City. You haven't seen it in about 55 years. I'm not sure if it even happened back in the 70s. The world champion Knicks are going to be throwing out the first pitch. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. I was joking with Mike before. Maybe they're not doing it to celebrate their own championship. Maybe they're doing it to celebrate Mike's emphatic victory last night in the heads-up battle. Yankees 12. White Sox 2. I had the hat. I almost threw it out the window. Now we get to do it again. Mike, what's going on here tonight?
Believe I started it off by saying, I hope that buy hat has pinstripes and not cursive script writing out there. And then doubled down and said, even take that White Sox team total under. It was an easy call. And it was an easy call because the White Sox ranked bottom, dead last in Major League Baseball against righties. Now today, I guess the argument could be, well, they've got Rodon and the lefty, but the thing about this White Sox team right now is you want to talk a little bit about fool's gold, and that's kind of where I think you find yourself here. Anthony K has been pitching a gem, but talk about line functionality. Look how damn this thing's moving, man. It's cooking at minus 186 right now. Yankees looked damn good yesterday, popping a cluster of runs. Is it sustainable is going to be the question that we have to ask ourselves here, but the Yankees should find their way to form. The numbers suggest it. The problem I have here is there's a little contrarian spot here. Big favorites against lefties. Well, big favorites being arbitrary. As long as it's not over $2.15 favorite. Against lefties, they're 10-0. So they're not. They're one of them anomalies like we talked about with the Angels, where they don't really struggle. But boy, they're also in an interesting spot where if you struck out more than 9 times and their totals less than a 9, they're 0-10. So it does create a little bit of a quandary. And how do you go and attack this thing? I think it's Rodon. I think it's the first 5. I think it's the first 5 minus a half a run for this New York Yankees team. But I'm not stomping and pounding my chest like I did yesterday about this one here. This is just Yankees. If they score 12 or more runs, they're a perfect 15-0. Take these Yankees. Thank me later. Let's get after it.
Going back to the hat, ladies and gentlemen. We're not running and hiding. The buy hat is engaged.
Oh, boy.
Taking the White Sox plus 1.5. And notice what I said, 1.5. I think the Yankees could win this game. I just see a tighter game. I think there's a bounce back coming here, and I think it's actually psychological. You look at this guy, Anthony K. I've been on record telling you guys, you don't want to back him on the road. Road at National League teams being the key point. 17 1/3 innings pitched. Road at NL, 18 earned runs, and recently got shelled at Philadelphia. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's just the National League, because at the American League, only 1 earned run against in 11 innings pitched, 2-0 straight up on the road. And, I was going through the psychology of this matchup. This guy, Anthony Kay, is not exactly a household name, but here you are watching Bases Loaded. We give you all the details. This guy is from Long Island. He went to Ward Melville High School alongside Stephen Matz and Ben Brown. Mike, we were talking about this before. We were joking around. I said, I didn't realize there was a hotbed of professional baseball pitching out in Long Island. I thought it was lacrosse and like football. No, it's baseball. And these guys are pros and they're good. Point being, he's going to have a lot of family in the stands tonight. He's going to be fired up just like the Yankees. He's probably a Knicks fan. He's going to be sitting in the dugout ready to go watching Jalen Brunson. They think that's morale for New York. Anthony Kay's over there like, yeah, I'm ready to go. So I think he's going to be totally focused and ready to go tonight. And final point on this, just the line from yesterday, I'll reference it again. The last time Rodon pitched against the White Sox, he was down 3-1 in the first 5. Couple late runs in the 5th by Giancarlo Stanton. And ultimately, I think it's going to flip the other direction tonight. Davis Martin last night got absolutely shelled. Shout out to the Yankees. Ben Rice is clearly the most improved player in Major League Baseball. He's going to be an all-star. He's a hell of a player. Absolutely no disrespect to Mike or the Yankees, but the buy hat is engaged. Take plus 1.5. Let's cash both. Let's get 5-4 Yankees tonight, and let's keep it moving. Next game on the card.
Our guy Scott's a member here on the Sports Money Network. He's got a question for us. He says, do you guys like the Yankees team total over? I don't want to speak for you with you wearing that sharp lid, but I don't know. This is a tricky little spot. I could see the lefty-lefty pitching matchup lead this game to the under. Any thoughts on that team total?
Not really, unfortunately. That's a separate market. We'd have to be handicapping that within itself because ultimately when you see like a 4.5 or a 5, something like that, it's kind of a stock line. So I'd have to go through a lot of detailed evaluation. So can't really comment on that, but we'll keep it moving. Next game on the card, 7:15 in Atlanta. Interesting game here. Braves Giants. This is game 2 of the series. Game 1 is still in motion. The game was suspended last night. It actually resumes this afternoon at 2:00. Giants have a lead in the middle of the game, 3-2. Mike, we talk about this frequently. Doubleheaders are tough. Rainouts are tough. Delays are tough. In my opinion, this might be the toughest game to handicap in the situation on the entire dynamic. You actually have a bit of a doubleheader. It's not an actual doubleheader, and the first game isn't finished yet while we handicap it to know which team's going to need to bounce back. I mean, honestly, this couldn't be more of a blind dart in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. Until we know what's going on the San Francisco side of things, it's hard to get to any position on this game. If you wanted to take a gamble, and I mean, this really is a gamble here, you can catch some 9.5s out there in the market and take the under and hope that they put some type of a pitching stud matchup in there on the San Francisco side of things. San Francisco bats, we know, are struggling, hit or miss, to say the least. Lots of cash pouring in on the Braves, and it hasn't moved. So that's something of note. Minus 138, sitting at minus 138, 88% of the bets and 92% of the cash. So again, if you want to gamble, I would lean to the under in this game, but truly that is a gamble until we see more information materialize here. Things you have to look at when it comes to the bench and things like the bullpen. How much do the Braves want to go after it? Let's say they come back in this game. Hypothetically, they pop 2 runs here. They go up. Now they've decided, okay, we're up in this game 4-3. Let's press. Let's put all our chips in to win this game, and then we'll kind of give everybody some relief in the evening game. You don't know. You just don't know until. And flip side, if San Francisco comes out here and smacks 7 runs in the next inning, Atlanta could say, fuck this game. We'll put all our chips in on the next game. So there's just too many variables until we get to see what happens here. Especially postponements like this in the middle of a game are even more difficult, in my opinion, than rain delays. Because at least with rain delays, they kind of knew it was coming. In a postponement like this, it's like they get 2 innings deep, and it's like, shit, I got a bunch of parlays tied to Atlanta still from last night. So rooting for the Braves in this first game. I don't really care about the second game.
Yeah, it looks like the Giants just listed Carson Whisenhunt as the pitcher. It's his first appearance of the year. Yeah, I have absolutely nothing on this game.
Where's he from? Where's he from? Do you got where he's from?
Unfortunately, I thought he might be the Whisenhunt name reminded me Ken Whisenhunt, NFL coach. I don't know if there's a corollary there, but maybe. No research though. I don't know. We'll just keep it moving.
East Carolina University, 2nd round pick by the San Francisco Giants is this young feller. He's from the East Coast. He played his college ball on the East Coast. He loves being on the East Coast here. Might be a San Francisco buy spot.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if
I don't know. I was trying to do my best shark.
it's not no relation to Ken Wisenhunt. I just looked it up. Interesting.
Second round pick's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously they're picking a guy that high. They think highly of him.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, anecdotal, one of my favorite words. We have no idea. We'll keep it moving. Next game on the card, 7:40 in Milwaukee. Game 2 of this series, Guardians Brewers. We saw it last night. Brewers took care of business 2-1. Trying to give you guys a win for Robert Gasser last night. Mike, I was looking earlier on Underdog on X, and they were talking about Andy Ashby getting 10 wins. And he got the win last night. I was chuckling to myself. I lost the bet. The guy that got the win in the game is the only guy that gave up runs in the game. Like, MLB needs to figure this out. Why are guys getting wins who actually have the worst score sheet on the entire game for the team? It makes absolutely no sense. I mean, Mike, well, let's talk about this game. But, I mean, I just was like, come on. Like, give me a break. Anyway, what's going on in this game?
Yeah, you're right. There's some things that Major League Baseball needs to fix as far as kind of how their rules are concerned, and the pitching and batting. If you're pitching, and should you or should you not? I mean, remember the AL and the NL pitchers not pitching, pitchers pitching, and then they had to change it for the All-Star games depending on whom the team was. There's just some shit that they need to standardize, and I guess because of the age of the sport, they're reluctant to go out there and figure it out. But I figured this one out here. We saw Gavin Williams the other day. What was his K prop? 7.5, and he got to 7, I think was the number. I can't remember the exact specifics, but here's one of those spots where you look at it and you have to take the Brewers, and you have to take them because of this price tag. At minus 126, they're probably the best team in baseball right now. And if you're going to be one of those guys that looks at like the last game or the last 2 games, which I do like to zoom in and tend to zoom in to try to discount, right, year over year. I was thinking about this morning randomly as I was getting ready for the attack the day here. I was getting ready to kick the day in the dick, Shark. And I was thinking to myself, man, you know what I think is so great about baseball is it's so much math, and you can take like the last 2 games, the last 5 games, you can lay it over their season, you can lay it over their career. And if you look at Sprout, guess what? Sprout had a tough go, man. This guy did not have an easy couple of games. So when you look at his numbers and you see his ERA is bloating, well, he's bloating because guess what? He just had back-to-back games at some of the craziest elevation outside of Mexico City or Guadalajara. This guy played at Colorado. He went 5 innings in Colorado. Now, he only gave up 3 earned runs in Coors, and they caught the win. It was a 9-7 final. It wasn't his fault they puked up all those runs. Then he goes down to Las Vegas in the sweltering heat at elevation. He goes 6 innings. He only gave up 1 earned run in a series between that week. They scored, 100 runs together? I mean, Colorado Rockies put up a 24-pack out for crying out loud in 1 game. So now you look at Sproat and you say, okay, well, boy, he's his ERA is kind of ballooning in the wrong direction. I don't think so, man. I think this Cleveland team's in suspect notice here. I think this is a great Sproat spot. Look for him to go maybe even deep in this game. I do like Gavin Williams K-prop, by the way. Not going to just pick on the guy. I mean, obviously we're looking at this thing. Is it coming down from where it was? And that's kind of the deal there is we kind of saw, I said this the other day, when you start seeing these things get to 7.5s out there, like, all right, the books don't want you playing this, and they're going to price you just out of the market. And these guys end up going 7. We've seen it time and again. Although in this case here, I think Gavin Williams, nearly 30% strikeout rate against lefties. So that's a little bit of an advantage for him here. He did struggle a little bit against that Yankees lineup. But dude, 10, 11 strikeouts multiple times on the season. Probably next to Ohtani when it comes to strikeout rates out there. So I like Gavin Williams over 6.5 Ks, but I think we see another battle of attrition. Pitchers duel. It's a great matchup for it, but I like the Brewers overall best bet for this game.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I didn't go into extreme detail on this. I did see Gavin Williams performing great at the National League. Actually did beat the Phillies almost through a complete game shutout, beat the Dodgers as well. That was my hesitation, but I'm looking now. He did take a 9-5 loss last year at home in this series versus the Brewers. So I think the Brewers actually have some matchup data against this guy, which could be to their advantage. The line is on Sproat. I wouldn't disagree there. And just really finalizing, I think, the strength of this, what I said yesterday about this matchup, pretty insane. You get the the AL Central leader versus the NL Central leader. And one team is over 100 runs better than the other. That's a very significant competitive advantage there. So I think it does lean towards the Brewers. I wouldn't disagree. I'll defer to Mike on this one. Take the Brewers and let's cash. Keeping it moving down the line here. 8:05 in Chicago. Game 2 of this series, Rockies Cubs. Javier Assad against Sean Sullivan, making his second appearance in the major leagues. Didn't make his major league debut on Friday night at the Athletics in Vegas. This kid's from Boston, Mike. So he starts his career. He's 23. Gets to pitch in Vegas, then in Wrigley. I mean, talk about a pretty crazy way to start your career. In terms of the actual game, I think it's tough, but I just thought that was interesting. What do you think?
There's a couple teams that fall under this price tag with this minus 190 or higher today, and I'm not sure that many of them are worthy of the billing here. Assad is not a guy in any way, shape, or form I want to get behind. And look, you know what we did? Gave you guys them Colorado Rockies yesterday. It's funny. Shark and I must have both been watching the game, or at least the score at the same time, because we texted each other and said that Colorado first 5 was just good money. And then they went on to win the damn game. So the Cubs are in a little bit of a sus position right now. You know, they like to give up runs. They're 10-0 to the over when they're closing a series as a big dog favorite here. I shouldn't say that. I like to steal your big dog line here, but as a big favorite, they are big bombers, and to the over, that is here. So that being said, why not? What are we seeing? Cubs are in a little bit of a downgrade right now, and I don't care necessarily about Sean Sullivan and, you know, looking at his ERA, and there's nothing, right? He's only got 2 strikeouts on the road. He's not the primary, right? He's not going to go that deep here. They're going to use a bunch of pieces to try to throw together, scotch tape a win against this Cubs team, and they got him on the ropes. So I like it here. You know, they lost that first game by 1. They came back and pounded them yesterday with multiple runs in their back pocket. I'll go back to the Rockies here today. I'll take them. You know, this is a plus 170. I mean, look, you can take the plus 1.5 for the Colorado Rockies and get it at like minus 110. That's fair, but I just think the problem is you're leaving too much ROI on the table because, albeit I know that was a 1-run game in the first game of the series there, but at the same time, they could have easily gotten busted up in that spot. So to me, they're either boom or bust. Today, I think they boom. We do have wind. We do have some wind factors to be considered with, and for that reason, I think the over, probably a really strong play. When the wind is blowing directly out, this kind of goes back to an ongoing conversation we've had. Looking at the totals, right? We talked about this with this Cubs and Colorado series last week. When you see Wrigley and the wind's blowing directly out, you guys, 120-77. It constitutes a 61% win rate, aka automatically buy on this thing when it's over a 9. Today it's over a 10, so I think you see runs, and I like the Colorado Rockies to catch the win.
Say less. I didn't go into detail. When I see a guy making his second start, he's only pitched 3 innings in his career. Bit abstract for me, but I wouldn't disagree. I'll defer to Mike. Rockies in the over. And let's keep it moving. 2 games on the late night card here tonight, 9:40. Going back to Seattle, T-Mobile Park, or Orioles-Mariners game 2. Saw last night, the Mariners did what we kind of thought they would, at least in terms of the total. Very low, 3-1 final. Now you get Kirby Bradish. These teams did obviously face off in Baltimore last week with clustered overs, Mike. I think we might cluster unders here. What do you think?
You had a great call yesterday with the under, you know, and I tailed that thing through the majority of the evening. It was looking great all the way through. I made a stupid bet, and when it was tied at 1, I just, you know what, take this Baltimore team at like plus 140. So I gave a little bit of it away. I'll own it. I'll have to cherish when I was winning money in this series. But this is a tricky one. You know, as we talked about it, you know, Seattle's starting to come back to form. Baltimore, I don't want to overreact. You know, they've been hit or miss when it comes down to it. I just looked at this one and thought the best way to attack it, not a big unders guy in the K-prop market, but I did look at the Bradish unders. 3 and 7. He's got a 3.89 whip. It is not anything that constitutes confidence out there. He played the Athletics. He went great. 10 strikeouts over 7 innings. What do we do when a pitcher goes best of the season? Well, we look for a follow-up fade through 41 innings. He's got a 4.83 ERA, so he's not in that form that we saw that last game, and that does factor in his most recent. So at the end of the day, I'll pass on the game, but he's going to take on this Seattle Mariners lineup who, against righties, dude, they're crushing. They're 22%. Pretty solid, pretty good plate discipline on top of it. And the under 5.5 strikeouts is plus 110 for Kyle Bradish. So I think I found a way to squeeze some plus money out of this.
Yeah, no, I like that analysis for sure. I'm going to give you guys the under again. I think we're going to see just pretty much a cluster of unders here, just like we saw overs in Baltimore last week. It's very polarized for me. Seattle scores on the road. They don't score at home. And their pitchers, who are obviously very good, pitch far better at home. And they kind of catch these teams in a funky environment too. Pacific Northwest, it's late night baseball. It's actually one of the coldest overall weather patterns for any stadium in the country, sustainably, even in the late spring and summer. You see people with friggin' sweaters and jackets on in this stadium sometimes. And you look at what happened last week in Baltimore. It was a 4-game series, 3-1 versus the over. An average of 10.25 runs per game. So that was just literally a cluster of awful pitching. Last night we said it. It's going to flip. You saw it, 3-1. And it was also according to the lines. The lines in Baltimore were all around 8.5 and 9.5. And both of these pitchers did just pitch higher scoring games in Baltimore on lines 9 and 8.5. This is moving down 1.5 runs. And final point on this. This is a great spot to buy an under for Kirby at home. Any of you guys who have been betting baseball for the last 4 years, or you're from the New York area and follow George Kirby, know one thing. He's actually a great home pitcher. He's an under home pitcher, but he's actually 5-1 last 6 at home versus the over, which is uncanny. It's the biggest outlier of his career at home. I went into the details. All of those games were either interleague games against the National League, divisional games, or matinees. He functions great at home on normal time, weeknight, primetime games, and he does ace the AL East sustainably. It's fantastic stuff. The line is far lower. No matinees, no interleague, no division. He will be locked in, and I think Bradish will match. I see the Mariners winning this game very similar to last night, if I'm being honest. Somewhere in the range of 3-2, 3-1, 4-2, 4-1, something like that. Take the under and let's cash. Final game of the card, Pirates Athletics. Game 3 of this series, in Sacramento. Braxton Ashcraft on the bump at Aaron Savali. Mike, we saw it last night. I said the over was going to hit. It did 6-5. I think we might see more runs again tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said yesterday, they got their spot there. They're they have 3 more wins. This squad to really make me look foolish by talking about them picking up 4 wins here to finish off their first half of the season. But I think Ashcraft can go out there and shove. I'm not willing to downgrade this guy's pitching ability. Not yet anyways. I mean, look, over 5.5 strikeouts is another one of those even money propositions. And he's been over 25% on the season. So, that's kind of a position that you want to certainly buy a pitcher in. Trying to slide a World Cup bet in here, and it's telling me I can't do it right now. But Ashcraft, as I mentioned, that 3.3 ERA, 90 to 19 strikeout to walk ratio. So you want to talk about command and control. He hasn't gone more than 5 in back-to-back starts here. So we're going to expect him to go out there. I think the Athletics are the right look, but over 5.5 strikeouts, even money. Let's go.
Yeah, no, Mike, I have written down here on my sheet that you said 4-24 yesterday before they got a win. And I said, well, if they're going to win tonight, they're going to have to lose about 20 straight games because as my microphone falls over here, guys, I apologize. The buy hat is engaged. We're taking the Pirates here. And as I said, Mike, they could lose 20 straight after tonight. That's fine with me. Not tonight. Ashcraft is going to shove. He is totally locked in this environment. Only road start this year at the AL West. 8-4 win as a small favorite. He's 2-0 road outside of the division as a small favorite. And this is a very similar line construct to what I told you guys about the Tigers-Astros series. Very, very similar. In fact, Athletics in game 1 were favored -125. Athletics game 2 -145. This flips all the way over to Pittsburgh -126. First time favored in this series The strength is noteworthy, and it is Aaron Savale at home. This guy has not pitched well with the A's in Sacramento. I faded him here twice already correctly. He's coming off the injury list. His previous start at home, he gave up 7 earned runs, 3 home runs against in only 4 innings pitched. I think Pittsburgh will tee off on this guy. I think Ashcraft currently could be the best pitcher, particularly to buy in the market for Pittsburgh. And as I said, only spot Pittsburgh favored in this series. Notable strength here. Absolute final point on this. I was going to skip it, but it is worth mentioning. Last year, Ashcraft did pitch 3 innings at home against the Athletics in September. 3 innings pitched, 0 hits, 0 walks, 0 runs against, 6 strikeouts. Total ace stuff against this lineup. The buy hat is engaged. Take the Pirates, and let's cash. That's 56 minutes, Mike, and we got best bets.
Great work, everybody, today. Thank you guys for your contributions in the chat. We're going to share with you guys, as we do at the end of every show, our best bets to help you guys kind of try to narrow down, yes, breakdowns on the entire card, but more importantly, some best bets in a show parlay to help you guys get to the window. Great day yesterday. I'm going to take the Dodgers under 7.5. I'm going to take Boston minus 122. Take the Brewers minus 117, and I'll take the over 10 in that Colorado game. Player props, I'll give you 2. I'll give you that Gavin Williams over 6.5 strikeouts. And I'll give you Braxton Ashcraft over 5.5 strikeouts. Plus 1. Both of them are even money right now for both those K props. So get to the window, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Shark, tell them what's up.
Yeah, so my best bet's taking the Marlins plus 108, Tigers minus 104, over Angels, Diamondbacks 9. And we'll go 2 in the late card, both totals again. We'll go under Orioles, Mariners. That's 7.5, and we'll go over Pirates A's at 10.
What do you have for the juice on those unders? 7.5. Seattle 7.5.
We got minus 104, and 10 is even money, minus 110.
10 is minus 110.
Yeah.
And the Angels over 9.
Over 9 is minus 119.
Gotcha. Okay. And let's see if we can't widget out a parlay here. We got some action. Let's take what do you want to take here? How about we go with take the LA Dodgers. Chalky afternoon. Fuck them. Let's take the under 8.5 in that Houston game.
All right.
And then how about you like the Athletics?
No. Why don't we take something in that Cubs game? You had 2 sides in that, right?
You want to take Colorado plus 1.5?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
There you guys go. There you have it. That is the Bases Loaded show, Shark. Great job yesterday. Hell, man, we've been on a heck of a run the last 2 weeks or so, maybe even more here. So let's see if we can't continue to blow this thing open. It's that time of the season. Baseball aplentiful, you guys. Welcome in WNBA, Baseball, World Cup, and we got the U.S. Open this weekend for a little golf action. Talk to me at 5 p.m. at pregame, and Shark, tell them where they can find you. Tell them what's up.
Yeah, winter sports are in the off season now, but there is a lot going on. It's an exciting time to be around, and we appreciate you guys immensely hanging out with us. Again, it's not even summer. It's still spring. We haven't even gotten into the summer yet. It certainly feels like it, but it's a great time to bet baseball. We're on a nice run. For me, this is not a nice run. This is just where we dominate, period. We have data. We have 4.5 months of great data every single season. We figure it out in April and May, and we dominate now. That all being said, for those of you guys who are betting with us now, you did manage your bankroll very well in the early months. You are here, and you are seeing precisely what we said. Always manage your bankroll so you can be around for the great months of data in any sport. We will be back tomorrow. Small getaway card on a Thursday. That is it for this one. MLB Bases Loaded on a Wednesday, the final Wednesday of the spring, June the 17th, 2026. For Mike, I am the Shark. Stay fast, stay strong, stay disciplined, and let's dominate.
I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine.